G3 Assistance through Virginia's community colleges is your pathway to a new future. Get a skill. Get a job. Get ahead. Learn more at vccs.edu/G3.
This is a CBC podcast.
The town of Conception Bay South has voted to go ahead with OCI's controversial development plan.
I said publicly and privately in our meetings that I cannot support a proposal that will have a negative impact, especially on the residents that are on the other side of that harbour. And I don't think, given the information that we've been given by the experts, that it will have a negative impact on it. In fact, I think at the end of the day, everybody will be certainly pleased with it.
That's Deputy Mayor Richard Murphy speaking at a CBS Town Council meeting last evening. And the council approved plans for a wharf and cold storage facility that will see part of the harbour filled in. CBS Councillor Rex Hillier joins us on the line now. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm well, thank you. Now, for those who haven't been following, there have been some recent changes to the project. So what exactly was approved last night?
Basically, we approved a 2.4 hectare infill of the harbour with a 90-metre finger pier. As you said, this has changed significantly since the proposal that we saw 10 months ago. We went through 3 stages of public engagement, 2 written, and then we did a Zoom session with residents, and that was in December. And coming out of that, we realised, and OCI realised, that there were some real concerns about the proposal they brought forward. So they took the winter and went away and came back about a month ago or so, a little more than a month ago, with a new proposal that saw some significant changes and dealt with some of the concerns that residents had indicated. And that's what we voted on last night.
So the community group Advocates for the Responsible Development of Long Pond had been actively opposing this. I'm assuming some of the concerns that were brought up to you as well. What changes, if any, were, I guess, directly connected to some of those concerns that were brought forward?
A lot of the changes were as a result of resident input. One of the concerns was that I guess if you're familiar with the pan, on one side you've got the industrial harbour, on the other side is the recreational side of the harbour. One of the concerns, and a major concern, was that the infill would be too close to the recreational side of the harbour and impact recreational boating in the area. So this new proposal, while there is an infill, and there will be an infill in this project, has been pushed as far over to the industrial side of the harbour as possible. There was a concern about the narrowness of a subsequent channel as a result of the location of the first proposal, because of the movement of the infill. Now, that should no longer be the case. The area that would have been a channel is now actually wider than the main entrance to the harbour where ships come and go. There was concern about filling up the middle of the harbour as a result of the movement of the infill. That's no longer the case. The infill is now pushed up into the southwest corner of the harbour.
And what about the environmental concerns, about the impact on ecosystems and wildlife in the area?
The environmental concerns are concerns, but in our case, it was taken out of our hands. It's a provincial jurisdiction. The province released OCI from an environmental assessment. We asked in the application process, we look for permits from other agencies, and that's one of the permits that OCI came back to us with from the province. So it was out of our hands. Now, to suggest that this is going to be an environmental nightmare is not the case, because there's still some significant pieces there that OCI have dealt with. One, for instance, they've been working with Migratory Birds and Climate Change Canada for guidance in the environmental management process of the project. They've done studies on the impact of noise, light, emissions to the environment as a result of the project. They've developed a marine fish habitat compensation plan in conjunction with Fisheries and Oceans Canada. So this is not a free-for-all for OCI to go down and start throwing rocks in the harbour.
Now, the group has mentioned, they're still planning on challenging this proposal. As a councillor, how do you plan on working with this group moving forward to kind of address their concerns? Because these are residents of the community.
Absolutely, and I respect all the work that they've done. There's no doubt that they've done a lot of research. They've lobbied a lot of people, a lot of important people in this area, a lot of experts in this area. A lot of the things that I just referenced are things that they came to us with. In the end, you've got to make a decision, and that's the decision that we've made. And as you heard in the preamble from the deputy mayor, we feel that this will have limited impact on residents around the pond.
Why is, still with the concerns in the air, how come there was such a unanimous vote amongst councillors yesterday when it came to this decision? While there's still concerns floating around, it doesn't seem like everyone's, needs or concerns were addressed.
And again, that's part of the decision-making process. Are you going to have 100%? Are you going to be comfortable 100% with everything that you do at all times? And there's always dissidence in terms of decision making. In this case, council's been working at this for 10 months. We saw back in December that there were some concerns with the initial proposal. The OCI went away and during the winter came back with the new proposal. And council looked at it individually. I can't speak for the rest of the councillors, but I looked at it. The other councillors looked at it, and that was a decision that was made. I think it's significant that it was a unanimous decision. A lot of these projects are and this one is certainly a contentious project, but contentious within council. In this case, everybody has looked at it. Everybody's read the material that the innumerable engineering studies and consultant studies have put together, and as a group have decided that this is the way we want to go, and it's an exciting time for Exception Bay South. We're very, very pleased with it.
Let's talk about timelines for a second. Specifically, when do you hope this work to begin? To start filling in the harbor will begin, and when do you expect it to be completed?
There are still some outstanding permits that OCI has to straighten out with the province and the feds. But that was once their permit is released, that was certainly that's in their hands as to the speed with which they progress.
I guess the final question I have for you is for folks in the community who still have concerns about what's happening, what's your message to them?
My message to them is that, as I said, we've looked at this. We've done the things that we need to do to educate ourselves. There are going to be those, and with all decisions, where people are not going to agree with it. In terms of the concerns, some of the concerns that came early were concerns of flooding, ice backup, currents in the pond, changing currents in the pond, sedimentation. We have engineering studies that are telling us that is not the issue. There are no issues there. People have no concerns about flooding. People have no concerns about ice backups. And you can only say that so many times.
Mr. Hillier, I want to thank you for your time this morning.
All right. Thank you very much.
Rex Hillier is a councillor with the town of CBS.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/podcasts.